Discussion and speculation is starting to ramp up about what potentially could be happening with Sakurai's next game. Masahiro Sakurai, the legendary Super Smash Bros. And Kirby creator, because recently there was a game director diner that Mr. Masahiro Sakurai hosted, and it had some big guns. This was at this year's Tokyo Game Show that took place somewhat recently, and the directors there were Hideki Kamiya of Okami and Devil May Cry fame, and of course you guys know Okami. The next one is coming up. Toby Fox, Yoko Taro, Mr. Kodaka, and more. So I wanted to discuss this because there's been a lot of talk about what Masahiro Sakurai is doing. Oh, he's wasting his time making this game from the GameCube era with Kirby Air Riders that nobody played, and he's not making Super Smash Bros. Anymore. A lot of people think that there won't be another one, or the next game isn't coming till like 3 or 4 or 5 years later. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think that's going to be the case. So we're going to discuss everything about Masahiro Sakurai and how he is absolutely working on Super Smash Bros. 6 for the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we get into all that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. And drop a comment below on what characters you would like to see in the next Super Smash Bros. Game. Okay, let's talk about this because this picture is pretty cool. There are some great designers and developers here. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Hideki Kamiya. I like the Wonderful 101. I like Beautiful Joe. I like Bayonetta. I like Okami. I like most of the games that he does. So it's pretty cool to see Mr. Hideki Kamiya with all these other great developers as well. But what could they be talking about? What discussions are they having? Well, all of these guys are pretty much having secret projects or things coming up. Mr. Yoko Taro, we know that there's probably going to be another near game that's going on. Obviously, the 100 line with Mr. Kodaka as well. That's been ticking up in sales and kind of cult hit type of status. So I absolutely think, you know good and well, now this is just once again speculation on my end, but you know good and well these guys were like, yo man, can you put my character in the next Super Smash Bros. Game? Because that's what everybody wants. Literally everybody wants their character in Super Smash Bros. Because it's the most popular fighting game when it comes to I would say hype and generation. Super Smash Bros., it always does really well. It always sells 5, 10, 20, 30 million units at this point with Super Smash Bros. So you know that they're all saying, yo, put my character in there. And I do think that Mr. Masahiro Sakurai has a plan. He's a man that's been with a plan for decades now at this point. So let's talk about Kirby Air Riders. People think that this game is inhibiting the next Smash Bros. Absolutely not. This game probably has been done or pretty much near done for a while now. The fact that he had not only one, but 2 Nintendo Directs or Directs based off of Kirby Air Riders, and the game looked so polished. It looked so fast. I wouldn't be surprised if that game was running at 120 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, I'm not sure if it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And it looks so clean. It's not a game that pushes things visually to the next level or something like that. And I think that he wanted to get a great game done at light speed. We know that Kirby Air Rider, the first one on the GameCube, that one, the start to completion was a pretty quick development cycle, and Masahiro Sakurai is known for having some of the shortest development cycles for some of the biggest games, like with Super Smash Bros. He gets things done quickly, so I would expect that Kirby Air Riders has been done for a while, and the final stages of polish have pretty much already been put on there, and they are just waiting for that November 20th release date on there, and he's probably already got the template. He's already got the docket, the plan for the next Super Smash Bros. Game, just like he did with Kirby Air Riders, where he got that very quickly. He had a secret surprise that he was working on that he talked about in his own creating game series, and that ultimately ended up being Kirby Air Riders, and it's already done at this point for the launch window of the Nintendo Switch 2. So Kirby Air Riders, to me, that's pretty much already in the bag, and he's already pretty much working, if not already been working, on Super Smash Bros. 6. And let's talk about the type of game and content, because there is a lot of discussion about what this game is going to be or how it's going to be. Now, they had the incredible ultimate Super Smash Bros. When it comes to stages and characters and music, it doesn't get better than Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So many characters, so many stages, so many types of ways to play and all that. But I do think that there is a way to surpass that, not necessarily an overall scope of just the optics, but in overall what type of content you are delivering to fans out there. Most people playing Super Smash Bros. Don't use a lot of the characters. I mean, I would probably guess that most people probably use 20% of the roster, maybe 30. I'm just guessing, but there are so many characters, and honestly, you don't necessarily need that many characters for the next Super Smash Bros. Game. What they can do though is hone in on the type of game content. A lot of people really want to see something like Subspace Emissary come back with those cutscenes, with the style of gameplay, with what they did with that and interacting with all these different characters. That to this day, decades later, going on 20 years now when it comes down to it, I think next year will be like the 18th anniversary of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. People still talk about that game and talk about what it did. I remember playing Subspace Emissary. It's not the best playing, like when you go through it, but it leaves a lasting impression in terms of what it did. It's such a unique type of mode for the Super Smash Bros. Series. So instead of making 5 billion characters overall, they can take that development time and resources and make an incredibly cool Subspace Emissary or single player content that is better than what they've done before in the past. So I would expect resources and time to be funneled into that type of thing. I think another thing that they could do, one of the best things with Super Smash Bros. Was offline play and the amount of modes like Squad Strike and Stage Morphing and all these cool ideas that were great offline, but none of them made it online. So I think that is going to be important when it comes to the online and when it comes to what is actually available, because a lot of the cool features that you can play offline that actually change up the gameplay a bit, like Stage Morphing or like Squad Strike, for example, are not available for you to even play online. So a lot of people did not experience it unless you're playing local with a lot of friends there. So I do think that having stuff like that and making sure that the online is built in with the cool new modes or whatever you're doing, I think that would be great as well. And of course, speaking of online, the online absolutely needs to be improved. Rollback netcode needs to be a thing, and not just the ghetto rollback netcode. We need the really good rollback netcode that has a lot of time and testing and everything put into it. I know Sakurai said that they wanted to implement it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but they essentially just couldn't get it done effectively. Now, and I do think that since that point, that was 2018, we're all the way going now to 2026, and we'll talk about when Super Smash Bros. 6 will be revealed for the Switch 2 and all that in just a bit. But at this point, I think that it has to be a must that the features and modes and all of that are available offline in addition to online, and the online does have that crispy rollback netcode for people to be able to jump into. So that's something that I think right there, if you're talking about better single player experience, better content integrated with the online, better online play overall, that right there makes up for not having a bazillion characters that people love about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. In my opinion, if you kind of, I would say, put all those together and make it synchronized, I think it's really going to leave a really big impression on people that could rival or at least get somewhere up there when people saw Everyone Is Here. That was just crazy overall. Now let's talk about the graphics and some of the other things. Obviously, I think they're going to have to bump it up a bit. If you're looking at Super Smash Bros. For Wii U to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's not like it was a crazy bump up in graphics and all that, and graphics are not the most important thing with Super Smash Bros., but I will say that graphics have always been pretty good on the platform. If you look at Super Smash Bros. From the N64 to the GameCube to the Wii to the Wii U to the 3DS, pretty much Smash Bros. Has always been one of the best looking games on the system, hands down, like always a top 5 best looking game no matter what. So I'd expect Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch 2 to look significantly better, definitely noticeably better than what we got with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and of course Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, which they did improve things a bit from Super Smash Bros. For Wii U to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but I'm expecting a little bit more of a noticeable jump with this one coming up. But once again, it's about the style, it's about the art, it's about what they do, not necessarily about raw polygon counts and all that. So this is probably the least important thing overall, as Super Smash Bros. Already has a defined look and style to it. And I expect it to be a bare minimum overall of, okay, this looks clean, it runs good, it runs at a clean 1080p or maybe 4K or 1440p and 60 frames per second. And maybe they want to go with 120 FPS with this one. They have a system that is capable of doing it, and Sakurai, once again, probably could if he really wanted to implement something like that. Now, let's talk about a potential reveal and release date, because I know a lot of you guys want to know about, okay, that's great. You can say all these predictions and speculation and all that, but when is this happening? Kirby Air Riders has to come out, and then we have to get to potential Nintendo Directs or something. So we got to go back and look at what happened with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch 1. That was revealed out of nowhere when people thought that there's no way that we are going to have a Super Smash Bros. Game in the second calendar year of the Nintendo Switch. And yes, that exactly happened. And to be kind of like honest here, nobody's predicted it like within under 2 years. Like within 2 years, under 2 years, the fact that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate launched in December of 2018. The Nintendo Switch 1 launched in March of 2017. So before the even 2-year anniversary, faster than what anybody would have thought, considering that Super Smash Bros. For Wii U came out in 2014 and there was still DLC. Well, after that, that was kind of close to the release of the Nintendo Switch 1. Yeah, people were flipping out about that, and it was unexpected in that March Nintendo Direct that all of a sudden you saw the Super Smash Bros. Logo and people went wild overall. I'd expect there to be a dramatic, oh my gosh, it's already Smash Brothers time. Yeah, I would not be surprised if the reveal would be next year at some point. Now, do I think the game is releasing next year? I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if they're going to be able to have that game ready in 2026, but I do think that it could potentially be a fall direct 2026 reveal, or even a summer 2026 reveal, and then a launch in 2027 early. So go with the Super Smash Bros. Brawl method here, where I think that was supposed to be like a launch title or near launch title in 2006, but it got delayed and pushed all the way 2008. So I do think that we could see an early or spring 2027 launch for Super Smash Bros. 6 on the Nintendo Switch 2, with a reveal sometime in 2026, probably in the summer or fall type of direct for Nintendo. So I think that's pretty much, I would say, a safe bet based off of history, based off of current development timelines, based off of what we have going with the Nintendo Switch 2. I think that next year is probably going to be the year of Super Mario, because the Mario movie, in addition to probably revealing a brand new 3D Mario game, and maybe even getting the first tease of what's happening with the next big Legend of Zelda, or new Legend of Zelda remakes, remasters, re-releases, and things like that, because the anniversary of the Legend of Zelda is coming up, and of course the Zelda movie is coming up as well. So there's a lot to consider, a lot to discuss, and all of that. And my own personal thoughts on this, as someone who's been playing Super Smash Bros. For a very long time, I personally want the best combination when it comes to Smash Bros. Of characters, stages, music, features, online play, and all of that. And probably the biggest thing for me, which I didn't mention before with the type of gaming content, is actually having new movesets. New movesets to me are super important, because while it's great to have a bunch of characters and all that, if they're still playing very similar to how they've played now for multiple generations at this point, I think it's time to kind of update it with the different games that have came out since then. So having maybe Cappy with Mario, and Samus needs a complete retool. She needs to be faster. She needs to potentially have some of her stuff from Metroid Dread or even Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Like, there's definitely a number of different things that they can do. And of course, when it comes to Xenoblade, we need some characters with Xenoblade overall. Yes, we got Pyra and Mithra, and that was great, but Noah and Mio, or maybe some other characters, maybe Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X, I definitely think that should be on the table. There probably should be some other stuff when it comes to F-Zero. Captain Falcon maybe needs a little bit of a retool, although his Falcon Punch and all that is so legendary, so I wouldn't change it up too much. But definitely there's a number of characters that have been there for a while now, or even new franchises like Astral Chain, for example, that absolutely need some representation or other stuff put into the game. So I do think that new movesets, in addition to essentially just putting in some new characters and new styles and new things, would be incredibly beneficial to, once again, having a new coat of paint, some new polish, some new stuff to Super Smash Bros. That can make up for potentially not having everyone is here overall and a bazillion characters and a bazillion stages overall, and make a product that people are really going to enjoy playing online, in addition to playing offline and kind of putting it in stuff that people haven't seen before in a Smash Brothers game. Now, I'm pretty sure there'll be new technical mechanics like the parry mechanic and things that they introduced as well for the more advanced gamers out there, so I'm pretty sure Sakurai will have some of those things put in as well. But once again, we can talk about that at another time. So what do you guys think when it comes to Masahiro Sakurai, this picture that was going down at the Tokyo Game Show, in addition to what could be happening with Super Smash Bros. 6? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.